So recently we were approached by a retiree with a retirement dilemma that we hear all too often. He'd been reading up on savings rules and came across Fidelity's "how much do I need to retire" recommendations. And based on Fidelity's assumptions, the article had told him that he hadn't saved anywhere near enough for retirement, which left him discouraged over whether or not he could ever retire. And unfortunately, this is a situation we see happen all the time. And for most, their situation is actually better than Fidelity's savings rules suggest. So that's why in this video, we'll be looking at why Fidelity's retirement savings guidelines can be misleading and how you should actually be calculating when you should retire. Over our years in the financial planning industry, we've found that successful retirees often have far less saved than Fidelity recommends, yet they're still able to enjoy a comfortable retirement. That's why we're making this video, to show, similar to the retiree that we spoke with, what more realistic savings guidelines are, and more importantly, why Fidelity's suggestions are wrong. Now, let's get right into it. First, let's establish the primary problem and some core beliefs behind it that need to be broken. The primary problem is that Fidelity's retirement guidelines don't represent the truth of retirement anymore, and they rely on outdated assumptions about investment returns, retirement lifestyles, and modern wealth building tools. And they fail to acknowledge that people can retire comfortably with far less than the recommended 10x salary milestone while still maintaining their desired standard of living. So why do we think Fidelity's retirement guidelines might miss the mark in today's world? Well, Fidelity's article on retirement planning recommends saving 10 times your annual income by age 67 as a baseline for retirement readiness. While this rule of thumb may simplify the conversation around retirement savings, it overlooks key factors that make modern retirement planning more complex and personal. Here's why these oversights matter and what you should focus on instead. So number one, the problem with fixed savings benchmarks. Fidelity's approach assumes that a simple multiple of income will provide a reliable nest egg. But this doesn't account for dynamic variables such as rising healthcare costs. Medical expenses and long-term care can vary drastically and often outpace inflation. There's lifestyle evolution, your retirement goals, travel, hobbies, supporting the family. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and it may demand flexible spending over the years. And then there's economic uncertainty. Market volatility and inflation could erode the value of a fixed savings target. Relying on static benchmarks fail to address the need for adaptability in retirement strategies in today's world. Number two, Fidelity's dangerously flawed assumption of income needs in retirement. What truly determines your retirement readiness is not what your total savings amount is, but knowing your portfolio income needs, which is how much you will need annually to maintain your desired lifestyle. Calculating this requires a nuanced approach. There's budgeting for known expenses, your fixed costs like housing, insurance, groceries. Then there's preparing for variable costs, your discretionary spending on travel, entertainment, or sudden emergencies. And then you have to adjust for taxes, tax-efficient withdrawals from traditional accounts, Roth IRAs, and HSAs are critical to stretching retirement dollars. Knowing these needs creates a tailored plan that can adjust to your goals and the economy's fluctuations. Number three, traditional guidelines don't necessarily reflect consistency and proper portfolio alignment with your specific goals. Fidelity's guidelines suggest saving 4 to 5x your annual salary or your annual income by age 50 and then 6 to 7x by age 60. While Fidelity encourages earlier savings milestones, what matters more is consistency in how your portfolio aligns with your specific goals. Tools like Monte Carlo simulations and stress testing can better prepare you for the realities of retirement than a generic age-based goal. So why does standard planning miss the mark? Fidelity's framework does simplify retirement, but it risks misleading people by failing to address the importance of personalized adaptive planning, the impact of taxes, healthcare, and economic shifts on retirement security, especially in today's landscape, and unique opportunities that can be created by hitting milestone savings amounts. Retirement is less about reaching some arbitrary savings benchmark and more about understanding how to turn your assets into sustainable income in retirement. Partnering with an advisor who understands the nuances of your portfolio income needs can provide the adaptability and the clarity that you need for a fulfilling retirement. Now, before we move on, you might be wondering how this directly impacts your retirement savings situation, and that is completely normal. In fact, it actually means you're on the right track for retirement. But The next step is where most people go wrong. See, most people will fall into the trap of just watching content about retirement savings. And in our over 20 years of operating Rubino and Lang Wealth Partners, we have never encountered generalized advice like this work the way that people think that it does. Now, this isn't to say that you shouldn't watch more content. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's actually to say that you should make sure that you're informed about your situation so you know what advice is truly applicable to you here. To help with that, we've created a completely 3 free-minute Are You On Track quiz that assesses your situation using the logic that we've used with countless clients over the years. So the best part is that if you complete the quiz, we will personally create a video that reviews your situation to make sure you get some clarity on what your next steps are so you can make sure you're taking the best step forward. So if you're hoping to retire within the next 5 to 10 years, or maybe sooner than that, before you continue, click on the link in the description and complete the 3-minute quiz to make sure that you don't fall into the trap that could delay and in some cases ruin your retirement. All right, let's get back into it. Now, to show that how much you need to retire could be less than you think your portfolio is following the proper framework, let's use a hypothetical example of Carl and Carrie. So what are their goals? Carl and Carrie are 57 and 56 respectively, and they don't have a set retirement date. And that's not because they don't want to retire, but because they're not sure when or if they want to stop working, which is great. Carl's a sales director for a tech startup and Carrie's a respected physician. And they both enjoy their careers. Their work adds value and meaning to their lives, which is great. So they've worked for years to excel in their respective fields, and they aren't ready to leave their passions simply because they're nearing traditional retirement age. And the challenge isn't overcoming any financial mistakes or limitations. They've been doing all the right things, generating 6-figure incomes, maxing out retirement vehicles and other investments, growing a sizable equity in their primary home, and protecting themselves with the right types of insurance. So what is the problem? Well, Carl and Carrie wonder if they're missing something. Is their current plan right for them? Would any changes in retirement or tax laws throw their lifestyle into flux? And they admit that they don't really know what they don't know. As they approach the next stage of life, they want an expert to help them make strategic decisions with their money. They also want help navigating taxes in retirement. So while Carl and Carrie aren't in a hurry to retire, they want to know that they'll have the option to do so within the next 10 years. So let's discuss their financial situation. They have a combined income of $230,000 per year with $850,000 already saved in retirement accounts. They have a home with a value of $780,000 and only $75,000 left on the mortgage. Their monthly expenses are currently at $10,800, but that will drop to $7,900 in retirement. No mortgage, no commuting costs, or certain work expenses. So what current challenges are they facing? Again, they fear that a market volatility will impact their savings. They have no idea how much more they might spend in retirement, and they want to make sure that they have the proper healthcare and insurance needs set up for them as they approach retirement. Now, based on the Fidelity article, what would they suggest is Carl and Carrie's proposed retirement timeline and the amount needed to save? Again, with $850,000 currently saved at their age, their monthly expenses of $10,800, and a combined income of $230,000, they would actually need to work for another 12 to 15 years, according to Fidelity. And let's calculate the amount needed to save. Again, if their current savings is $850,000, Fidelity's target of 10x their annual salary of $230,000 puts them at $2.3 million needed for retirement. That creates a savings gap of $1.45 million. Carl and Carrie would need to save a little over $12,000 a month or $145,000 a year to reach the target savings amount before age 67. That's 63% of their current income. Even if they push retirement out to 15 years from now, they would need to save over $8,000 a month to achieve that retirement number. If Carl and Carrie were to believe that's what they needed to do, that could be soul crushing in thinking about any sort of reasonable lifestyle in retirement. Now, what would we suggest through the 365 retirement plan process? Well, with the current savings of $850,000, that's a much stronger than it appears when it's properly evaluated. Monthly expenses dropping from $10,800 a month to $7,900 a month means that they'll need far less than Fidelity's $2.3 million target. And we do that through a portfolio income needs analysis. After factoring additional income from Social Security, which will be $4,800 a month, and using that $7,900 a month expense number, we calculate their portfolio income needs to be a little over $1.04 million. Even if we don't factor in portfolio investment growth over the years, $1.04 million minus the $850,000 they already have saved results in $190,000 that they need to save over the next 10 years, assuming that they still want to retire at 67. And so to achieve that amount, they would need to save a combined $1,584 a month. So having to save $12,000 a month versus less than $1,600 a month, that's a massive difference that helps reduce the financial stress and can significantly improve Carl and Carrie's quality of lifestyle today. Now, how do we help them get there? Well, first, we create a tax-efficient income distribution plan combining their optimized Social Security benefits with strategic withdrawals from their retirement portfolio to cover their monthly expenses without triggering higher tax bracket events. So this might include Roth conversions, tax loss harvesting, timing long-term capital gains and or withdrawals from high-yield savings accounts. We could structure their investment portfolio into specific buckets for short-term needs and long-term growth, focusing on steady income generation rather than aggressive asset accumulation. And then we would also meet with them on a semi-annual basis to confirm that they're on track with their savings and investment allocation strategies. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one more thought. What's really fascinating about all of this is just how dramatically retirement planning has evolved beyond the simplistic savings formulas that major investment firms keep pushing. Retirement in today's world faces unprecedented challenges and operates according to a new set of rules. Central bank interest rate manipulation, high-frequency trading, high debt, market volatility, and geopolitical threats all make retirement planning more complex than ever. You need a fluid strategy to navigate today's retirement landscape. That's why we developed the 365 Retirement Plan Quiz, and here's how it works. You put in some information about yourself, when you want to retire, your savings, a few other details, and someone on our team will review your situation and send a personalized video that walks through your retirement situation, giving feedback on how you can achieve your retirement goals and, more importantly, what the next step is for you to start on your retirement journey. All you have to do is click on the link below and fill out the questionnaire. Until next time, take care.